the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence from the 25th of November 2018 to the 10th of December 2018. We consulted children in school, we consulted women counselors and women representatives in different regions of this country to find out what are the gender-based violence happening to women and girls in our community.
Farantara la friend dole ya okamina kan konyo muntu konyo nyi dibita do mondinga teminaka ala mobile babul akani boy do bent so boyo nyi ya jas kabirum boya jas reka boyta buta ba tretin kan so aya push aseleta kan ba tretin kan aka bar kabira ya push dura ya dimya wisata sinya kindrak aborita so di no nyem nak aslata ma fonte wolu ngam la 2-3 days ta anadna aba sata kanya kan cool nda ka fanya ko problem tala because am futamma bari ay attempt tenin
child abuses dafa bari Gambia waaye ana lan lañ defagum fan lañ tollu ban percentage amut na nguur bi taxawal luwaam luwa la a law for one should be a law for all, a rule for one should be a rule for all. Benn loi dañ ko fa tegal na nekk pour ñëpp su kenn nit defee dara nañ na loi bi jaara moom bu mu seet ne kii mbokkaam moo wax nii kii mbokkaam nañ wane bright sample ñeneen yi dinañ bàyyi.
All these consultations led to this meeting we are having today. Meeting with the National Assembly member, especially the Select Committee that is responsible for health, women and children, to help us address some of the issues raised during the consultative meetings that we have with different stakeholders, especially women, who had said and asked us to bring these voices before the National Assembly and the government of the Gambia, who represent them in government, to ensure that government put into consideration some of these issues.
The title of this meeting, which says the high-level meeting with the National Assembly policymakers on the issue of addressing sexual and domestic violence in communities, in schools and workplaces, I see it to be very, very pertinent indeed. We rely on you as the sector that will help to avoid these violations from taking place and to be able to deal with perpetrators. And most of the time, because of what we believe in, we end up even punishing the victim instead of the perpetrator. Because our belief is that the man should beat the woman. So if the man beats the woman, we end up really blaming the woman for being beaten than in fact dealing with the man. So I think these are all things that we need to look at as things that are not normal. We need to talk against them. They are not acceptable. And we all need to understand that so that everybody becomes a security against violence against women.
We request the National Assembly members to make sure funds are allocated to support victims and survivors of human trafficking as required by law.
Point number 2, we request the National Assembly members to make sure funds are allocated to support victims, survivors of gender-based violence as required by the law.
We request that any teacher found to have sexual abuse or impregnate a student should be dismissed and not transferred to other schools, as had happened in some cases, according to some students during the consultation.
The advocacy issue on number 4 is high risk of attack from rapists in URR. We request the police to strengthen the country's security to protect women and girls from men who attempt to rape them in bushes.
To protect women and girls from violent acts being perpetuated on them. We request the NAMs to use their oversight powers to ensure effective enforcement of these laws by allocating funds for their implementation and monitoring responsible institutions to make sure the laws are effectively enforced.
We hereby request the government to make it mandatory for government institutions, private sectors, and civil societies in the Gambia to have workplace policies on sexual abuse and harassment to protect women from the effects and experience of sexual abuse and the harassment in workplace in line with the Women's Act 2010.
I hereby read these demands and then hand it over to the National Assembly members on behalf of the women of the Gambia. Chapter of demand from Gambia women. We the undersigned women representatives from all 7 local government administrative regions of the Gambia, civil society, education, security forces, schools, and public institutions hereby presents this chapter of demand to the chairperson of the National Assembly Selected Committee on Health, Women and Children on this date, 26th day of February 2019, for the National Assembly to ensure relevant government institutions take the necessary actions to address gender-based violence, GBV, issues in the Gambia.
We've heard your demands, and listening to your demands, looking at the composition and the caliber of people in this hall goes to say anything that is said here is representing the interests of women and children of the Gambia. And I must be frank to myself to say, as you were putting these demands, I was doing a self-interrogation. And along the line, to be factual with you, I saw where I felt a victim in the sense that I could have done something to stop it from happening. Why didn't I take up the responsibility of ensuring that I put a stop to it in either talking or doing an advocacy role? But take it from me, the purpose for which I accepted to be in this select committee is to ensure that we come up with our oversight functions and apply it to the letter. So you have our support.
We have heard you clearly. We are in support of the cause. These are issues that no one can deny, and we cannot negate them. We cannot dismiss them. We must act. And like I said, they are not something that is unreasonable, that we cannot really respond to. After the consultations, what we'll be doing as a committee is we're going to convene a forum in which those that are responsible for making decisions would be invited to come. You are presenting your demands. We're also going to present those demands to them, to task them. This committee will do. This is going to be the outcome of this exercise. We'll be doing that that's the next stage that we'll be doing.
I really lend my support to this, and I'll make sure that I play my own quota towards this, because it's part and parcel of planning in development and then partnership in development. Thank you.